the first thing that comes to mind is enjoy what you're doing. I mean, do what you love, because the fact that I've studied for so long and worked in such difficult fields and so on, like I think it's because I chose every time to do something I love doing. So, like the fact that I play soccer every day and I took it like to this like scholarship level and all of that, and the fact that I love technology and keep doing like everything I do around technology just makes it enjoyable. So I'm sure that other people who would just thinking about entrepreneurship as an adventure or technology as a way to create a startup won't do it for so long because they wouldn't love it. So I think the biggest wisdom I would say from what I talked today and my journey is to live your life doing what you love, I guess.
Our featured speaker today is an MIT bootcamp alumni, mathematician, entrepreneur, and research scientist passionate about perpetuating the development of technology that improves people's lives. He also loves playing and producing music and playing soccer. Hassan, it's a great pleasure to finally have you as our featured guest today. Thank you so much for being willing to take the time to share your journey with us.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for having me, and thank you for the intro. It's my pleasure to be with you all today. All right, so I can start by talking about my journey. So, to start with my education, and then about my entrepreneurial journey as well, and how I came back and forth to entrepreneurship while studying as well to keep my skills up to date and all that. So basically, I was born in Morocco, so this is where I started my life, I guess. And I played a lot of soccer. I just love soccer. So while I was studying and doing great at school, I was always playing soccer and doing like all sorts of tournaments and all that. So it helped me enjoy, I guess, the difficulty of studying in difficult classes because I was doing mathematics and like the most selective, I guess, like courses and all that. So it was difficult, but every time I was thinking about the fact that we had a soccer practice after class made it all better. So yeah, so I graduated from Lycée Lyoté in Casablanca, and after that I got a soccer scholarship in the US. I started going I had like a couple of offers actually, approximately like five schools, five colleges or universities that gave me offers. And I chose the one in Miami, which is which was a great start, I guess, of the U.S. education for me. I discovered the U.S. from Miami. It was amazing. Like it's a very touristic place, so there's a lot of fun things to do there, and great weather as well. So it was great. After a year there, given that I was able to get great grades and all that, I basically wanted to get transferred to a better school. So I just hoped for like the great UCs because of the reputation it is with technologies. Because I also like love technology, and that's just something I do, in my pastime. Like anytime I'm not playing soccer or studying, just checking the latest texts and playing with the latest texts and all that. So Oh yeah, I heard a lot about Silicon Valley since every time I was hearing about new technologies, it came from there. And I was kind of hoping to end my professional journey over there. This would have been the greatest growth personally for my professional life. To actually work in the Silicon Valley and all that. So this is why I basically like applied to UC Berkeley. When I applied there, I transferred. Before getting there, I actually did an entrepreneurial journey, which I believe actually helped me get into Berkeley. I didn't even think about it, that it would do that. I just so basically while I was studying in Miami and then like went to a community college as well in California, I just was getting so interested in VR, virtual reality and augmented reality, because in Miami I was working with this research professor who was developing like VR headset for medical use to like scan some diseases and all that, like with the AR headset. So basically, that was my start in the VR industry, and yeah. So I just thought maybe I can I guess contribute in this field and make it into an entrepreneurial journey. So that's actually how I started with the VR startup. My actually roommate, we were at the St. Thomas University in Miami together, also in the soccer team together. So basically, he was the co-founder, and we started the company. We founded it. We got an investor in Germany, and we went to Germany. It was great because we were very, very early compared to all the others in the industry at that time. Like every time we went to a client to propose our services in VR, they were discovering VR with us. So for them, it was an easy sell. If we had come like a year after and they had already tried the VR headset, it would be, yeah, we know this technology. But if we were the ones to present it to them, like the wow factor helped us sell.
Hmm. Do you mind if we jump in with a couple questions about VR?
Of course.
Yeah, I just want to ask you, what year was that?
So the exact year, I think it was 2000. Let me check it again to be certain. I think 2016.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I've been through the same stuff, but I'm here in Brazil, down in here in Brazil, things are so much slower. You wouldn't believe. So I started studying VR as well. So I bought all these goggles. I went to Google I/O at 2016. They were presenting like Google Cardboard and stuff. And I found that so interesting, and I started studying that, and it was such a hard sell. Oh my God, and still is. It's not easy at all. It's not, because the goggle is not cheap, and all this metaverse talk that we had, like even Facebook changing their name for that, and it still didn't catch the public attention, and it's very hard to sell that, don't you think? Like, I mean, it's really interesting as a but entrepreneurship is not a science fair, right? And well, that's interesting to know about your story.
Yeah, because 2016 was when you were at the boot camp too. So you were doing this in the US market?
Exactly, yeah. This is where we started. Like basically, when I applied to the bootcamp, the MIT bootcamp, I was telling them that I'm co-founding this VR startup, and this is the investor we got, and that's I think how we started at the MIT bootcamp with the startup.
All right. And so what was your draw to to VR, like just initially? Like why was that the startup that you felt was right at the time?
I think basically because it allowed some people to have experiences that couldn't otherwise. Like this is what like made me realize the importance of it. So like if you can travel to a country and you still want to visit it, it's a very great experience. If you want to visit a house that isn't built yet, it's a very good experience. So like it's an alternative of something that isn't possible, which I mean drew I guess my attention in terms of the value of that technology. So I like it brings an additional value to people who can't actually do something they would like to do. And I think that answers also the question of the sales difficulty. Like it is expensive, but like gear to buy and all that. But for example, in Germany, we focused on the real estate clients, and those had the budget to build a huge house just as a demo of the other real estate propositions. But then this one was just a few headsets and a computer to do a lot of other houses. So for them, it wasn't such a drawback compared to what they usually sell their clients their houses to. So like even though there were difficulties in selling the VR, I guess, service, there were like ways to actually just make sure that it's an additional value added and that's it's like it makes sense for the client and that it also makes sense for the users who like cannot I guess have the same experience otherwise.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's one of the sales, like real estate, and we have seen here in Brazil actually for kids, when they go to the doctor to take a vaccine and they're afraid, they have like a VR experience for that, so they don't even notice that they're having the vaccine applied. It's so interesting, but it's still so niche, right? It's very niche. It's too small sometimes. So I guess that you're not working with AI and data science, right?
I am now. That was 2016. Now,
Okay.
so many years after that, I am working in AI now. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you're getting all the well, 2016 VR was the thing, right? And now AI is the thing. So I guess you're working with what is cutting edge technology, like and you're very talented on that. And how do you feel like you have this path to go, and we all go through this with our startups. I have a consulting company, so I feel that we always have to be changing. I started like creating websites and web apps. Now I have to work with mobile apps, with other kind of things. We have to put AI on that to help people use the app. So how do you see this challenge, this challenge of changing what you're doing to be doing what the market wants, and how do you choose what you're going to be, because there are a lot of things to do. That's not just AI that it's booming now. We have so much things. So how do you choose the path that you're going to work with and study? Because it's I mean, I study VR, and even though I did a course on an American school, I still didn't learn everything. So you have to really go deep dive on these topics, and they're not easy to understand and stuff. So how do you see that as a you know personally, and also like as an entrepreneur?
Basically, just to illustrate an example, when I started getting very interested into AI, it's when the AI algorithm won against the best chess player. So when that happened, I then realized, whoa, this is a huge technology which has surpassed already like the smartest human in a very intelligent game, which is basically like these kind of tells these big events that happen in tech, like may I guess are some illustrations of okay, is this tech gonna grow, is this gonna be valuable, maybe I should look into it. So this is like the just illustration of some events, but in general, like my thought process is this, that I just like love I love technology, and I love like futuristic stuff. So like I am always interested in what's gonna be next, what's gonna come next in the industry, in the technology and in development of humans. Like it just like a passion of mine. So I just keep reading a lot about all of that. And then when I know all the possibilities that seem to be like going towards in technology, then I see, okay, so which one is gonna be like now or in the next 5 to 10 years, and this is when I spend my time on. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. There's just one thing that I wanted to know, just so I can let Nancy ask on the next question, but just not for us to lose this opportunity. But have you ever studied something that it was useless in anything? Like you study something that it wasn't like applicable, or have you been through something like this? Because I have.
I think personally, I think the latest one that I studied but didn't go further is blockchain. Like I know it's like a very potential future growth, and I started learning it about it like 3 or 5 years ago. But I still didn't like put too much of my time on it because it's still just like a big question mark for me in its implementation in tech. Like I know it's a very potential one with the Bitcoin and all the NFTs and all the growth that happens. It's still like for like just personally as a decision to spend my time on studying and working in it. It just hasn't gotten yet there yet. So this is an example of a technology I just passed on. Yeah.
I appreciate that answer. I think that's kind of a philosophy question too, Daniel, because that like has to do with our view of some of the side paths we take and some of the failures we go through, like how you see them. Was it a waste of time, or did you get something tangible out of it? So that's interesting.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree on that. Yeah. I mean, it's now I have the experience to let some things pass, like the Web3 things as the blockchain. We didn't study anything. It would be useless for me now. So, yeah, I totally agree with Hassan.
So, yeah, still taking time for things that are interesting. Sometimes you come up with ideas going back to what you were doing before, too. So, building off of your journey, Hassan, I was wondering, how has your experience in AI, in VR, and data science and analytics aided your transition into your more recent role as a scientific R&D consultant for Leighton,
Um,
where you're doing this for clients versus, doing it for just one specific company?
I think like the transition is mostly about the diversity, because when you do it for your own company, pretty much every like other technology that isn't used, you will not get to learn about or work on or anything. So you will definitely lose a lot just because of making sense to keep developing your own tech with your own industry and your own products. So like as opposed to working in R&D consulting, then you get a very like wide, it's very very diverse in terms of technologies and industries and clients, and just out of curiosity and like willingness to learn about technology and and the world in general, it's just a good I guess it's a good work to do at the same time while doing your own project, like to also like help other companies in other technologies in any way you can. It just seems to me it just makes sense to do that. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask something about the consulting business. So I've worked with consulting and also data science and analytics pretty much my whole life. Um, so when I went to class 5 of the bootcamp, I pitched my idea. I wanted to create an AI consulting company. So the AI would do the consulting, and I would just count the money probably. Still, I still kind of work on something similar to that, but it's more niche now. But do you see like the future, especially on data science and analytics, that we can have some kind of automation, like consulting as a service? I mean, that my question is, I have to change jobs now, or like in a few days. How do you see that?
I think I think you still have time. Like the change in the marketplace that AI will bring in terms of it automatizing things. I believe it's not gonna soon enough like replace the jobs where are like very specific, because AI is very general. So even if you use in my experience, when I used AI for any like consulting or similar tasks, like it required a lot of fine tuning on my end to actually like tune the result into what I'm looking for. So even if there's a lot of automation and possibility of getting a lot of knowledge from the web and other sources and all that and curated in all of this, like the human brain is so far for the AI development that has happened. So far, the human brain is like necessary in the before using it, during using it, and after using it. Like AI is a tool right now in the consulting. That's what I like what I experience. And then I don't know in 10 years what will happen then. Maybe let's see if OpenAI will do some AGI that will just replace everything. But so far this is how it is now, I guess.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, I have 10 years to make my retirement plans, probably. Thank you. It was good answer. I really wanted to know what you thought about that. I totally agree with that.
That's a good personal question too, right, Daniel?
Yeah, yeah.
But I think that's good though. I think one of the things I really like about this group is like the ability to kind of zoom in and then zoom out to like that long term picture as well. And I think Andrew unmuted. Andrew, did you want to ask something? Feel free.
Yeah, I had a question. So first I had a comment about the whole thing about, something that you learned that is, I guess for the lack of better words, useless. I don't necessarily think that anything that you learn is useless. It may not necessarily manifest in the way that you think of until when it's actually needed. So I don't necessarily think that anything that you learn would be useless in that sense. The question that I had was in regards to the training of the AI. One of the more recent articles that came out was these freelance workers that were labeling AI training in the AI training process at $15 an hour. And so I'm curious to hear your thoughts as it relates to, the I guess shall we say the dark underbelly of artificial intelligence and the process that still requires humans in the loop in that sense.
Yeah, I think I heard a lot about these freelance new jobs. About I don't know if how they train the AI actually. If they actually train the whole like the whole code and the whole algorithm, or just like train the last layers, I guess, just to be able to use the API.
Oh, okay. I was saying that it was a labeling process of identification. For example, if it was an image recognition, it would label like this is a dog, this is a cat, and stuff like that. So it still requires humans in the loop in that sense.
Um, yeah, so I think so. Yeah, basically these is like type of coding, and I think they are like a great use of the like the AI algorithm, the AI open sources that are out there, because like they are able to like remodel some of the great texts that have been built by a company, and then for the example of image recognition that you said, or like even like the one I tried like transfer learning of for paintings, like the fact that there's like a huge amount of work done by a company, and then they just with a huge amount of resources and a lot of employees and all that, and they just open source it, and other freelancer can just fine tune it for their own use. I think this is like a great use of the AI for the marketplace, because otherwise there's gonna be just a few companies that are able to use this very useful tool, and on the others, like alternative is like these companies give the opportunity of the others to also use it for their own cases. I think like it's a great like development. Like personally, that's what I see it, because I also personally used it while I was studying for like some deep learning class. I just took an open AI. It took me 1 hour of code to like transfer the style of a painting of Van Gogh to a picture I took of the campus, and that's like you. Like, I think this is very valuable to be able to do that. Once a tech is developed with a lot of resources and a lot of like research scientists behind, and that are given to others to be able to reuse it for other other cases. I think this is like personally was great in my education for sure, and I also think it would be great for others as well.
Thank you for the great answer. I really appreciate it because, as Andrew indicated, it's definitely some of us look at AI as like not just like it could choose one of two paths, but like how do you make sure that um, I mean not just that it's used for good, but like monitored so that the parameters stay helpful. I don't know if that's a good way to verbalize it, but and who should be regulating it and monitoring it. And I think like something I know is important to you is that it's the creator themselves. I was wondering if you have any examples of AI that you don't like.
It's interesting. An AI that I don't like. That's very interesting. I haven't thought about this question. May maybe the ones that are connected with robots. So like this is not a path I want, I guess, humanity to go towards. Yeah, once you have AI connected with robots, then it's
Oh, interesting. Okay.
like too many like futuristic negative events for humanity that are possible. But when it's AI just in your computers and stuff, I guess just as an imagination exercise, that's where I would draw the line of AI that I don't like.
Like 60s sci-fi movies.
Like the Terminator.
Yeah.
Hassan, I just wanted to ask you, are you a big social media guy? Like you use Facebook and stuff?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Social media, Facebook and LinkedIn, and I'm getting into Twitter as well, but just didn't get the time for that.
Yeah, Twitter is okay. They released their algorithm, right? So it's fine. We can check it out. But I mean, I think my personal opinion. I don't know if you can agree on that because I think the worst algorithms are the ones on the social media, probably because they get you addicted and they can make you inside a bubble so big that you think everyone else it's just crazy that they don't agree with you. So I think that's worse than robots, in my opinion. I don't know what you think about that.
I heard about that as well. How, yeah, like I think it can be a very negative loop when you use these algorithms. But like what I think though is that if the companies that are putting these algorithms in your feed, they can just adjust them for it not to be like that. Like I think it's an easy fix. Yeah, as soon as they hear about the negative
Yeah,
effects,
yeah,
then
yeah,
it's easy fixes.
yeah, yeah. I totally agree on that. So Hassan, just getting back to your last answer before this actual question, you were talking about using external libraries and APIs on the from companies like OpenAI and others. So I started when I started with AI in 2017. I was really excited to learn and to be a mathematician as you are, and to go through this rabbit hole of learning math and working with my own algorithms. But I visited IBM in 2016, a year prior, and when I started studying AI, and I had other stuff to do, so I couldn't like really focus on that. And I realized that IBM, when I had the meeting with them about AI, and we were planning to use their product on ours as a API or SDK, something like that. They already have patents on some algorithms. So even with we come up with the same thing, we will still maybe have to pay some royalties for them, even though like we come with a similar. If we don't check like the patents and we actually find it, and so that got me a little bit less interested on creating my business around AI as with my own algorithms. So I started to think more on using algorithms that already exist if they are sold as a service, like Google does it, Amazon does it, IBM does it. OpenAI, as it's not as open anymore. It's a private company now. So how do you see the future of that? Like, is it worth like creating your own algorithms, or it's better to understand these APIs and these products as a service on AI? What do you think the path for an entrepreneur, not like a scientist or a person that works on Amazon or IBM or some big company like that? What do you think for us, like consultants and people that want to create their products? Is better to learn these APIs or to try to create your own algorithms?
I think it depends on the time you're hoping to get to market or to give the result or sell it to your client. So if you have just few months of work, then definitely the APIs are the way to go. Unless you want to give just a very like not so great result. If you have years, then it might be worth it to actually develop your own. But then you should also keep in mind, like as a startup, if you want to spend years developing your own algorithms, then other uh, Google and Microsoft and all of the IBM and all the big players are also doing that. So you're competing with them and their resources. So is it worth your 2 years spending time on something that they will most likely like give an API to everyone else? So it's just a decision of where you want to put your time. Yeah, yeah. So, or like, how long do you have until you want to give do your product to market or your clients? and whether you want to, like, what type of product you want to do, one that competes with all the other algorithms out there, or some like niche market that it's worth spending 2 years developing on, or so on. Yeah, I think this seems to be like how I would think about it when I want to decide whether to use an API or develop my algorithm.
Yeah, I mean, what I think now is it's just like if I'm going to launch anything, I'll just use an API like to launch it quickly, and if the if it's worth it, because sometimes it's cheap enough for you to pay the API and still have a lot of profit. So maybe that's a good path also. I think like you don't have to have a scientist or a very talented person on algorithms to do that. So if you're a programmer, it's already hard to be one. And also have to be a mathematician, or so yeah, I'm giving this advice for a lot of people, so I just wanted to confirm that it's a good advice.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, I agree because not only is it like easier to use, all the APIs don't have to be a mathematician or a scientist to use this great technology as a tool for your services or product, but also I think like for all the 5 past years that I've been keeping updated into AI. Look, a lot of companies just keep giving new and new services in new APIs, new techs. So like if you want to get the latest up to date tech and to be able to use it quickly, the APIs are definitely worth the money they charge for.
All right, so Andrew has a question.
Yeah. I was gonna say appreciate your point of view on that. Yeah, in a comment too. I love the comment. I think Jarvis and Iron Man is great. I'm wondering if that's a comment to talking about AI as it relates to robots, but Andrew, did you watch all the movies? Because that goes wrong too. And then his follow up regarding his other question. So about the $15 an hour jobs labeling AI, it feels like inequitable in the sense that the founders are making big money and the grunt work is minimally rewarded.
I, yeah, it's a difficult question. I haven't thought about it enough in terms of where the money goes to, but I think like the salaries I know are of Google data scientists and they're really well paid. So I think these type of companies actually do reward the coders. But then I'm sure other like examples of like the freelance online that are not as well paid, and that's definitely like not giving enough money for like very skilled people who are using the tech. So I think it depends on a case to case. But that I also heard about the companies making a huge amount of money in terms of profit for using that, and a lot of other. I mean, like who actually is losing that money? Like for like
Sure.
it's difficult to express. When an API comes out and it just replaces a lot of other jobs, so all the companies, instead of paying these people's in the salaries, they will just use that API for cheap, and it will make them money, and the API provider will have a huge amount of money. Well, then who's actually the person who's losing the money? So that's where I think the focus go towards. Like the people are
Mhm.
actually like losing the job from these automations, and like as for salary of developers, then just it's a case to case.
I think you did a really. Oh, sorry. I think you did a really good job addressing that in a general sense because it does come down to specifically what application you're taking a look at. Um, well, I have a question, but Andrew, did that answer your question, or did you want to add to that?
Yeah, so I guess I just want to say, um technology is a good sort of tool to break down barriers, but also at the same time, when used in a way and not in a way that shall we say is fair to everyone involved, then it begins to become even more of a uh, tool for the haves and the have-nots. And especially now, so I'm working in the Midwest, I begin to see a lot more of the have-nots being forced to take on roles that pay the same, uh, as say a grocery job or whatever that might be in tech, but they're not actually getting the true rewards of what tech had promised originally. So I would just say that, that I think is a challenge, and so always a question of like, don't be evil.
Well, that last part didn't sound like a question, but I agree with that statement.
It's always like yeah, I'm from a, let's say, developing country, right? So we are really early adopters to anything regarding technology. We have a lot of time using internet here in Brazil. It's just like a really big thing. It always has been. We are always like really interested on new technologies, but I do see that Andrew talked about like at the same time that technology creates opportunity, it also creates barriers. And some barriers here are even worse to overcome because you have to overcome different kinds of challenges, and we are so much quick. We're so quick to adapt to these things, and sometimes I just wish I didn't have to carry a smartphone everywhere because we even to park my car, we don't have like those things that you insert coins like you have in the US. I mean, the last time I've been in US, I've seen those things there. I don't know, it's been like 4 years that I don't go there, but anyway, you still have this option. Here in Brazil, you don't have that. If you park your car, you don't have a smartphone. You have to find a place that sell you a digital parking ticket, and there's no like nothing that comes with a paper or something. So as you get older, or if you don't want to have a smartphone, you don't have that option anymore. So you have to buy one. And for the less fortunate, I think it's really restricting. Cars are already expensive, so you also have to buy a smartphone and stuff. So yeah, I totally agree on that.
It's and I appreciate your point. I think it's hard with AI that these a conversation about AI kind of starts to become about ethics. It's not a bad thing. It's just like one of those things that I'm sure anyone in that industry navigates from time to time. Um, if it's okay, I would kind of like to transition our conversation back to the application of AI because I was recalling in looking through your work, Hassan, that back at boot camp in 2016, you and I had a very brief conversation, and I'm sure that both of us were really exhausted because I can't totally remember like the ins and outs of it, but I remember talking to you about the the human aspect that is needed in behavior change and the AI application, and um could AI kind of take the place of a therapist, or is a therapist really the best option? Is there something else that could be helping this person? And now there are so many different products out there at this point. So I guess I'm kind of curious, what do you see at this point as the limitations, if any, of AI kind of replacing some of the humans that we rely on to help us in these roles, whether it be a therapist or a fitness coach, or any other sort of like human you would interact with that you need some advice and guidance from?
That's a great question. I actually have thought about it a lot. This is like a question that comes often in my, I guess, yeah, my studies and research. The question is, what can't it replace? So that's the, yeah, kind of scary part of it. But I think that the human value is gonna stay no matter how much development AI will do for a lot of jobs, like the therapist or any like the medical assistants or like doctors. I think all of these jobs, or teachers as well, all of these jobs will just be AI tools for the humans. Like it, I don't see any, like I don't imagine AI being better than humans in that. I imagine humans using AI is better than just AI. Like no matter how farther, like how much development AI can get. This is how I see it. Like I see that these some jobs that are definitely like certain to keep to keep like to keep like humans actually working on their job, just to enhance them with the AI tools. But then, unfortunately, there's other jobs where it's now it's like difficult to like to give this argument because like, I guess call centers like these are just phone calls that you speak to, and it's already existing a technology that does better results than any human on a call center. It's like for almost all languages already. So like, and so unfortunately, like these are the type of jobs that are like if they haven't been already replaced, like they will certainly be replaced in the near future. Like as so, I guess this is like these are some jobs where yeah, these are some jobs where like the replacement of and automation of the tasks are easily done by AI and in a better way. But then the others where they require human interaction or like a human like thinking and analogies and all of the things that isn't technological. These are the ones that are certain to stay, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for that thorough answer.
Of course, of course. I mean, like again, like I keep thinking about this question. Like every time I think about any job. So, like if you have a job in mind, and you're wondering if it's gonna be replaceable and automatized, like just ask me about it, and I'll tell you what I think. But yeah, I heard a lot of, for example, lawyers. I heard a lot of AI technologies that give hugely valuable tools to lawyers, but they're not gonna be going to court. So I won't go to court. It'd be just gonna be a lawyer using the AI tools.
Yeah, we do have some stuff here being applied here in Brazil on the judiciary system. Like the judges are using like AI to better judge some cases, and if they have like similar cases, they already have like the judgment for the next one like lined up by AI. And yeah, it's a tool, right? It's not doing their job, but it's definitely accelerating what they can do. And especially in the case of judge, because you have a limit on that, you can't just like hire them these guys. They have to go through the all this ritual of having a test, having the interviews, having to have the vacancy for them. So yeah, I do see that it's a very good tool, but I would add that not always just AI can replace people. I've came to some situations, and maybe Hassan can probably give his perspective on this, but we come to the client and we look at a department. They have all these people working with some repetitive operational tasks of like maybe uh, inserting products into a database or just inputting that data like and you can just simplify that with a simple code of a computer script. It's not even like AI algorithm. It's just really rudimentary thing. It's just organize pictures and the data with the same name and put on a folder, and the computer does the rest with some maybe like Python or any other different language of a script. So the thing is, now that we have this on media is saying that AI will replace, but we already have been replacing jobs with simple scripts, not even AI. So I think it came to light just because AI is very hot topic now, but that's been happening for a long time.
Exactly. I mean, the example that comes to mind when I think about that is just like computers or the internet. Like there were so many jobs that were people like writing in papers, but then when computer came, it just replaced all of them and it enhanced all of the others, like in terms of services and products and development. And those that were writing instead of typing just got reskilled to another job. So I think just a similar illustration is the I guess the start of the computer in the use in the industry, or like the internet in the industry, all the big technologies and the changes they do in societies, they're just like similar. I think AI is just doing the same thing.
So I wanted to change topics now. And Nancy said me that you're also like working on teaching, and I found this fascinating. Like I've been I launched my own course, and I had mixed experience with good experiences and some not as good as I wished it was. But it still is very rewarding to like being sharing your experience and also helping people to learn more. So Nancy, go ahead, Nancy, ask the question.
I think it's so great that that you're so multifaceted, and I feel a little bit guilty that we spend so much time on AI, even though I think it's a really fascinating topic. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your teaching experience at do you say EdNov or EdNov?
I know, yeah.
Okay, and kind of how you got into that role, and how you like being in the professor versus consultant role.
So basically, it's started with like just tutoring in in STU, in my first university in Miami. This is when I started my first experience teaching, and it's just something that I realized I was enjoying doing, and it's a fun job to do. To be honest, that's also like important, I guess, sharing your knowledge with others and not just learning knowledge to use it for yourself. There's also like a philosophical question about that. But yeah, so since then, I just like from now and then like tutor some students. I keep tutoring like students, and just lately I thought also about like doing an online course. So I'm also gonna use Udemy. I'm just like working on it as well. So yeah, I thought of just a different platform to teach. Instead of doing one-on-one tutoring, maybe if I do just a Udemy class and post it, that could be also a great way to do it. But Daniel, if you can give me any advice on that, I'd love to hear them actually, because I haven't posted any Udemy class yet. So
It's hard to give advice on this topic actually because it depends on so much variables. My problem was that I launched a course, and I thought that the market wanted something, but it wants a thing that is a little bit different. Like when you launch your own course, you have to really know what people want. So yeah, I haven't been working on a new course, but I'll work on that like in the future. I'm working on free material for like YouTube and tutorials and stuff, and it's really amazing to give it for free, and it's rewarding. But yeah, probably gonna launch a new one in the future. But I don't have any advice besides that. Like really trying to understand what the market wants, because at the end of the day, like teaching is when you're launching your own course, it's just like launching a startup or something. So you have to solve a problem that exists. So I did had have some students that were successful, but the problem is to advertise the course was too expensive, and it was hard to make a profit of that. So yeah, I mean that's the only advice I have.
I mean, that's great. Interesting to hear. What about the free courses you posted? Did you do any advertising to generate revenue from it?
No, I'm not advertising anything. I just doing it organically. So I do get money from ads, and sometimes I have like companies that partnership with me, so I can referral to their products or service. Some if related with the content I'm doing. So I'll launch that in English as well in the future. So yeah, I may share with no, not may share. I will share with the community the work that we're doing, so we can maybe in the future have a talk about this here in the podcast. But now I just wanted to ask you something. Like you working as a consultant and as a professor at the same time, or like do you feel like consulting is also like maybe teaching? Because I feel like that, because people are paying you to analyze and understand and then give them qualified advice, or teach them things that they don't understand about their business and stuff. How do you feel that?
That's interesting. It is similar when you think about the content. It is similar. I didn't think about that, but definitely when you do like a consulting project, go to the technology itself and you try to like understand it and develop it, and then and then also explain it. So I guess yeah, there is a very similar like aspects of consulting and teaching. Yeah.
That's a great question. So before we end, we usually ask kind of what we call like our words of wisdom question. So no pressure, but I'm wondering, what do you want us to leave with today? What do you think has been, the best lesson or takeaway from your journey so far, or just some words of wisdom that someone else gave you that you might want to leave us with?
Um, that's difficult to answer. Words of wisdom. That's interesting. The first thing that comes to mind is enjoy what you're doing. I mean, do what you love, because the fact that I've studied for so long and worked in such difficult fields and so on, like I think it's because I chose every time to do something I love doing. So, like the fact that I play soccer every day and I took it like to this like scholarship level and all of that, and the fact that I love technology and keep doing like everything I do around technology just makes it enjoyable. So I'm sure that other people would just thinking about entrepreneurship as an adventure or technology as a way to create a startup won't do it for so long because they wouldn't love it. So I think the biggest wisdom I would say from what I talked today and my journey is to live your life doing what you love, I guess. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Hassan. Oh wow, I really appreciate so much your thoughts and everything you share with us and taught us today. I mean, I felt like I have entrepreneur, a professor, a consultant, and a very friendly person in an interview, and it was really nice to have today your presence here in our discussion. Really did um, a great a great podcast for us today. Is not just because I relate with your history and all that you experience,
Excellent.
but also because you have gave us very good advice and shared the experience you had. Um, like coming with your company with the VR thing and then AI, and it was really interesting to have you today. And
Excellent.
well, we're so happy to have you here, and we feel so fortunate to have you being part of the Founders Voyage community, and we hope to have more opportunities to follow through your career path and all the things you're working on, and the teaching job. Everything is so interesting.
Excellent for all the great words. And it was my pleasure, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was really great talk, and I hope we have more opportunities for do that.
Definitely, definitely. It was my first podcast, by the way, so it's a great experience.
Oh, yay!
Thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah, and I thank Nancy for inviting me, because I'm not usually co-hosting here. Sometimes I just hop in when Spencer can't, but it's always a pleasure, and it's always like really good to be.
Definitely, definitely, my pleasure. Like, don't hesitate to contact me. And I've actually been listening to the podcast these couple of weeks as well. So I'll keep. I'm loving them as well. So I'm always here. Don't hesitate to, yeah, to contact me for anything else.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Hassan. And I definitely look forward to speaking with you more in the future. I feel like we've like just barely touched on your journey. So we'll probably ask you back as a guest at another juncture if that's okay. So thanks so much, everybody, for making time. And thanks, Daniel, for your great questions and perspective too. We'll definitely have to get you rotating as a co-host much more frequently because I love
Yeah,
the
I'd love it.
unique perspective that you offer, and that's a beautiful thing about this community. I feel like we kind of share
Yeah,
a
there's
like-minded philosophy in some ways, but we're also incredibly differently skilled. So thanks so much, everyone. I hope you have a really great day or evening ahead.
thanks so much, all of you, and yeah, thanks Nancy for the invite. I'll be joining more as we just it's just a pleasure. So thanks so much. Thanks Hassan. Well, I'm happy that you're happy to be participating because in the future we will have some other opportunities for talking a little bit more.
Thanks a lot. I'd love it. Yeah.
Bye.
You've just finished another episode of Founders Voyage, the podcast for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. The team at Founders Voyage wants to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We hope you enjoyed your time with us, and if so, please share this with someone else who might enjoy this podcast. You can also support us by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and by donating to our Patreon. Outro music today is Something for Nothing by Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band.